Friends, the majestic Ashwatha tree here. It's also known as the tree for wisdom. It has its ancient roots which are going deep, penetrating into the earth, and also its branches going soaring towards the heaven. And it embodiments of the empathy and the resulting impactful and successful products. So today my talk is about empathy, like why it is important and how we can uh, get it, acquire the skills into it. So these roots of Ashwatha tree, it goes into the earth and patiently absorb the nutrition. Similarly, empathy is that you patiently, respectfully acquire the feelings and the experiences of our users. Let me share an instance with you. In 2004, in Kanpur city, I was at in the college that time, and I was given an assignment to design something for people with special needs. I thought I will design a walking stick for blinds, and for research, I went to meet the principal in a blind school. And when I reached there and I inquired about my appointment with her, the receptionist, who was also blind, for some reason, he was not in good mood. He was rather rude to me and he asked me to wait. I waited there patiently for 30 minutes, but I realized that nothing is happening. So I thought that let's move on. And I started, going towards the gate and I met the gatekeeper. He said that, you can meet some students, maybe parents, maybe faculty, some volunteers, which was a great idea. So I started talking to people who were coming in or going out. And I talked to them about the challenges of blind people, the needs, and what kind of designs can be created for them. I happened to go and see how blind people learn dancing. So it's very different than how we learn to dance. So somebody will perform in front of us and we will replicate it, and this is how we learn. But blind people doesn't do that way, right? So the instructor has to hold the hand of the student and then they will, make the gesture, the leg movement, the hand movement, and that is how they learn. It is very different, right? And it was eye-opening for me. Um, so I, spent the entire day talking to people, looking into the classes, looking at the devices that they use, etc. And I thought that, I have learned a lot. Now I am confident that I can design a walking stick for a blind person. And that is when, the person I met in the morning, the receptionist, he came coming to me and he was apologetic about his behavior in the morning. And he said that if I want, he can arrange another appointment for me. I thought I have learned enough. So I thought that's okay. I don't need to meet her again. I have learned. I think I'm confident I can design something for blind people. But some reason I asked him that whether I can ask him some questions. He was in a rush. He wanted to go home for something urgent. So I thought I'll go along with him. His home was nearby about 100 meters, and it was also evening. So he went inside his home, and it was a little dark inside, and he started doing stuff. And then he called me whether I want to come in. It was a little odd for me because it was dark, I was not able to see. And I told him that, can we switch on the lights? And now it was his turn to feel odd because he didn't need lights and he didn't know where the switches were. So we found the switches using my mobile light and switched on. And it was a small studio apartment kind of room where kitchen, everything was in the same room. And I find that room was quite cluttered. So I just sat there observing him doing stuff. He was filling water. At that time, water used to come only in the morning and the evening. So it was really urgent that, you have to fill the water, otherwise you will not get water. So he was doing stuff and slowly, I started realizing that the clutter which looked to me as cluttered earlier had a pattern in it. There was an organization, a complex organization of his own. And he was able to do whatever he was doing very easily. He was able to find things. And that was a light bulb moment for me. I felt that, I was full of assumptions. And I probably didn't know much about these people. So forget about designing things. Even if I would have designed something, it could have failed, right? So the thing which I was lacking was empathy. I was not able to empathize with that person. I was not able to put myself into his shoe, and much to be done for doing that. I would like to share with you in one of the study in 2023. So the study shows that every other product that launches fails because of the non-fitment of market needs. And that is not surprising. How much do we invest on research? And on top of it, how much we invest in empathizing? Even if we have a research team, and I'm not talking about the market research team, I'm talking about user research team. So very few companies, give preference to having a research team. And the research team, how much time they invest actually empathizing with users. So which is a very dangerous situation we are in, and that is why I'm sharing these thoughts with you. So let me share some quotes from the legends in our space who we really know and respect as innovators. So this is Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. He says our core business is connected with the customer's need, and we will not be able to satisfy them if we don't have deep sense of empathy. So he really, you can see that empathy is so important for our leaders. Steve Jobs, again, one of the most innovative person. Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works for our users, and for which empathy is really important for us to understand that how it works for them. Albert Einstein, the best design is the simplest one that work. So simplest is another day's talk that we have to make things which are very simple, but it works, it should work. And this is my favorite quote because it summarizes what I really want to tell you all. The best products are born from a deep empathy with the people who use them. And sometimes it's like, I have a product in mind. I had a product in mind that I want to design a white cane for blind people. But sometimes innovative ideas emerges out of those discussions. So what is empathy? Empathy is basically putting yourself into other person's shoe and seeing the way they see, feeling the way they feel, and experiencing the way they experience. So there are many methods that we can use to gain empathy, and the most common are two: observation and interview. So let me share how we do observation. I would recommend that when you go for observation research method, right, you should try to be in the natural environment and in a way that you are not hampering the environment in any way, and observe that how users are feeling with that setting. What are the pain points? What are making them happy? How they are experiencing, whether they are satisfying, how they are connecting with people and the context there. Let me share an example from my earlier experiences. So I was designing a solution for customer relationship manager, and I recruited one of the person named Rahul. I went and I said that, hey Rahul, I would like to sit with you for 3-4 hours, and I'll not disturb you in your work. You can proceed the way you want to do. First few minutes, he explained to me what his job looks like, his responsibilities looks like, and he meet, what are the customers he's working for, and what are the application that he used, documents, etc. And then I sat observing. He went into a call with a customer, and the customer had raised some bugs or issue tickets that they wanted some updates on. And Rahul promised that, hey, I will come back with the update soon. And after the call, he started looking into multiple applications. Some application, he didn't have access to the data about that customer. Then, he spent quite a lot of time, but he was not able to find the status of those tickets. Then he thought that I will talk to those person who are solving these tickets. So he connected with the support team. Again, he was not able to find that what is the status of those tickets and who are actually working on it. And he was really looking, frustrated and all. So what I did that day during observation, I patiently sat, I listened to what was happening, I, took notes, I looked at his emotional, status, his body language. I refrained myself from bringing my biases there, and I was open to, his thoughts and, his analysis of the situation. So that has helped me empathizing with him. And next to it is the next step of research is interviewing, right? So next week, when I met him for interviewing, I asked him that what is the status of that ticket, and he told me that still they have no resolution of the ticket. They don't know where the tickets are, who is working on it, what is the status of it, and in fact, the customer has escalated it to the CEO of the company, and the relationship are sour. So that was the problem that he was dealing with. So we sat together and I asked him questions because that day I had made a lot of notes. I had made a lot of assumptions. I had some open questions which I wanted to clarify during that interview session. We discussed, and I tried to go deeper into the issues. So there is something called 5 eye technique. We also call it laddering technique. We use it like 5 eyes and do the root cause analysis. So I checked with him that what is the issue, what is the thing that you would like to have. He said that I want access to data. I said like, okay, which data and why you want to have access to the data, so that I can look into the systems and find out that what is happening, and if nothing is happening, it can at least escalate it accordingly. I said like, okay, but why you want to escalate and take charge of the things? He said that because I want to communicate it to the customer, I want to communicate it to my leadership, that what is happening about those tickets, and if something is really taking long time, I would like to take due course of action. So I went deeper into the why questions, and then what we realized is that the need is not that he need access to data. The need is that the customer should be informed in advance, and the leadership should be informed in advance, and he should be informed if there is any escalations needs to be done, if some manual intervention has to be happening. But in this case, actually everything was going fine. The tickets were actually going fine. It was taking time and nothing was to be escalated, but because of the lack of knowledge, it was getting escalated. So at the end, we designed a dashboard for him that could solve, that could update him and send him alerts and send him information that is required for him to do the job. So that is the importance of how we should do, right? And these are some of the things which I would like to share, that when you are doing observation and interviews, you should look for patterns. Like in this case, I looked at the pattern that he is consistently not having access to the system. There were so many systems for doing the same thing, and then I also realized that when he's in a meeting, the data is different across the system, so people looking into different systems are not aligned together. And also then he has come up with some adaptations for himself, right? So he created some documents where he was having like list of all the application, and to my surprise, there were 22 applications doing the same thing. And he also had the names of the people who he should reach out for escalations or getting access for the data, and it used to take him a lot of time. And these are some other common, adaptations that we have seen. I mean, this was one of the viral video where this, vegetable vendor, he was segregating the fruits based on the size and using this jugaad, right? So adaptations are like jugaad, like this is for social distancing, how you take milk during that time. This is like one AC and then serving to 2 rooms. So these are like this is a drop irrigation system where they are using the medical glucose thing for irrigation. So these are some of the jugaads that people have done, and these are the adaptation, and these are the unmet need user has. So we should definitely look for the patterns and the adaptations that we are that the users have. So now this is a bonus technique that I would like to share. The observation and interview, we have been doing it, is very obvious. But this is the one which is very less used technique. And this is what I would like to share with you. Empathy experiences. So when I designed that white cane stick, before I did that, I actually spent few hours doing things which that person did with no eyesight. So I used a glass, and I took my glasses and put the Vaseline on it so that I'm not able to see anything. And then I did my daily course and went to college, and going to the canteen and talking to friends and doing like morning rituals, etc., everything, so that I'm able to empathize. I could actually put myself into the shoe of the user. And similarly, when I was designing the application for the customer relationship manager, actually I took some task and used the application. I also went into the meeting with the customer, and I pretended like I am a customer relationship manager, and how does it make me feel at that time, like how frustrated and what is the bar and how risky it is. So now, is it what empathy exercise looks like? So I think not. If you are trying to empathize with a dog, you cannot be a human just wearing a mask, right? You have to actually walk like a dog. So if you are designing for children, you should put yourself into their shoe and actually do the things they do the way they do, and the kind of put on that mindset that they have. So let's test it. What do you think this girl needs? She needs a ladder, knowledge, a book. But actually, if you go observe the scenario, you will realize that there is a party going on. She's feeling lonely and she wants to attract her parents. So she's putting herself into a dangerous situation so that the parents are attracted and trying to help her. So what is empathy? Putting ourselves into user's shoe. So empathy definitely is very important for us to be good designers. But is it the limit of empathy? No. Mahatma Gandhi said, I suppose leadership at one time meant muscles, right? The rulers were warriors. But today it means getting along with people. And to be a good leader, actually, you need empathy, right? You need to understand how your employees feel, what they experience, so that you can mentor them accordingly. And similarly, for being a good human being, right? Being in a family, being in a society, empathy is really important. So I will leave you with this quote: empathy has no script, so you can gain empathy in the way you want. And there's no right way and wrong way to do it. And it's simply about being listening, being open-minded, holding the space, withholding judgment, emotionally connecting, and communicating that incredible healing message: you are not alone. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much.